Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at the console version of Dreamfall Chapters from Red Thread Games, which follows on from Dreamfall The Longest Journey, which released way back in 2006. Dreamfall Chapters has already enjoyed a release on PC in an episodic format, but now gamers can grab the entire 5 episodes in one sitting, both digitally and at retail. Dreamfall Chapters has you take control of 3 characters, although 2 are more prominent. The main character is Zoe Castillo, who is a dreamer with the power to influence other people's dreams, helping those trapped in the dark recesses of nightmares. She's a down-to-earth, inquisitive girl, and for the most part, pretty likeable. On the other side, players assume the role of Kian Alvain, a once holy assassin for a goddess. However, his faith is tarnished following an assassination order of which he disobeys. He's thrown into prison and starts the adventure escaping from his captors, following an order for his execution. The third character is a bit of a secret. We'll leave it at that. There's 2 very different characters residing in parallel worlds. On the one hand, Zoe lives in a futuristic cyberpunk city Propast, whereas Kian in a fantasy magical realm of old Marcuria. It's an interesting mixture of styles, making for some excellent visual contrasts. Story aside, because the reality is this is what's important for the game here, and revealing too much is going to end up being a spoiler. The gameplay revolves around some fairly lengthy conversations, free roaming and point and click adventuring in a 3D space. For the most part, the 3 work well together, but it has to be said right off the bat that jumping in without playing the previous series might lead to a lack of clarity on some issues. Thankfully, there's a handy character roster which allows you to view some background information. That said, it's quite easy to just dive in and enjoy what's presented here. There's some caveats though, which mostly rest on the conversations, some good and others not so favourable. As mentioned, there's a lot of dialogue throughout, and as the storytelling takes centre stage here. If you're rather impatient or not willing to enjoy the complexities of the characters, then for sure the amount of sitting and watching might begin to grate. Once you do have control, some of the required actions are a little vague, and if you've not paid attention to the dialogue or skipped it, then objectives might cause some frustration. There's always a hint as to what you're supposed to be doing, but often this is not enough. One of the more interesting features of the dialogue is being able to make decisions which have ramifications further down the line. You're given time to select, and if assistance is required, then you can check out what other players have chosen at the touch of a button. Some choices are more clear-cut than others and play on your morality. It has to be said though that the depth of the characters by their design and the fact that you can press them for more information gives an impressive amount of lore and detail for those who really want to get deeper into the characters on offer. This is one of the game's strengths, although as mentioned it's not necessarily going to gel with all players. In terms of visuals, there's some excellent character designs and visuals, especially when contrasting the characters and locales from the 2 parallel zones. The cyberpunk visuals of Propast are pretty neat, and it's great being able to wander around some fairly open world areas, taking it all in and making discoveries. Sadly, there are some performance issues in this area, where the frame rate begins to chug a little when the scenes are filled with NPCs. Something which has also plagued the PC version. Even on the PS4 Pro it struggles, although not to the point of being unplayable, thankfully. Also, Zoe and Kian's running speed seems to be quite slow, which makes getting around an elongated process, which isn't a problem at the start, but becomes annoying when you want to press on. The look sensitivity is also a tad too high on default setting, but that can be tweaked in the options. Audio is of a high standard here as well, which features some excellent voice acting from too many characters to mention. There's a rousing score which complements each of the parallel zones, making for a pleasant oral palette. It has to be said though, the script is pretty incredible in places, with some humorous moments coupled with vile or vulgar language that might make any bystanders blush if they overhear. One section with shitbot training has to be seen to be believed. Hats off to Ragnar Tornquist and Dag Shivi for their script here. Dreamfall Chapters offers the full 5 books in one package, and due to the puzzling nature of the adventure game and plentiful in-depth dialogue, there's enough here to keep you hooked for many hours. Replaying the game is not necessarily essential, but the choice is there if you can remember what paths you took the first time through and want to try the opposite. Fans of point-and-click adventures will likely lap up this conversion to consoles, as it holds up well, looks great and has enough depth to keep you hooked. The only real negatives, aside from some technical issues and slow pacing, is how vague a number of the objectives can be with little assistance in-game. For players with itchy trigger fingers, this is certainly not for you, but for anyone else wanting to spend quite a number of hours inside an engaging and interesting world, this is well worth checking out. Dreamfall Chapters scores 8 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram. Thanks for watching.
I'm okay, I'm fine. I was just dreaming.
You were crying out in your sleep. Nightmare?